found a fun and easy way to make money beating other players in Rocket League. Game Wagers is this new app where you play your favorite online game and you could challenge your friends or other players to a 1v1 wager. The Game Wagers app acts like a digital referee. Not only does the app keep track of the winner and the loser of each match, it verifies the winner of each 1v1 wager. That means the winner gets paid and the loser gets good. No more live streams needed, no more VODs required. Let the app worry about all that, and you could focus on beating your opponent and making some money. Sign up at GameWagers.com, download the Overwolf app, link your PayPal account, and start making money.
Welcome back. I know I didn't warn you about that, so I'm sure that was just blaring in your ear out of nowhere. Why can't I hear you?
Oh my goodness. It's super funny though, because Discord rolled out this update where you can have soundboards in your Discord. Have you seen this?
I did remember seeing something about that.
And so if you go to other Discord channels that have already adopted it, they have some, and you can use them. Like if you're just part of the Discord, you can use the ones and you can have a certain amount depending on Nitro and all that. We need to set those up because I'm pretty sure it can come through the Discord too. So we can have any number and you don't have to have a separate app for it anymore.
Right. Yeah, they have, Discord has done that, and very curious to see how that ends up going. But Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Bucket and Hoosier show. First show of 2024. Yeah, honestly, when we started this, I wasn't sure how far we would get, and here we are 2 years later. Well, coming up on 2 years this summer. But here we are trying to keep up with what's going on in the Rocket League scene. As always, I am Mr. Hoosier, and the gentleman with me is the one and only Bucket. And as we always start with, Bucket, how are you doing?
Bucket's good, man. It's been a long time since we've been in front of these microphones together.
Yes.
November, October, when was it? It was
October. Yeah, October was our last official show, and we took a break, and we chatted back and forth trying to be like, should we do something in December, just something to break up the monotony? But at the time, it just didn't feel right. But as we get closer to what is supposed to be the month that starts RLCS play, it felt like this was the time to do it. And what no better time than after the first of the year. So this is it is a good time for sure. You had said before we got on, you hadn't really kept up with anything. You hadn't kept a close watch on a lot of things. But what are some things that you have seen, if anything, from the Rocket League community?
Man, Rocket League itself or RLCS, because those two things are very different, and there's a lot of people up in arms from little things in the game being changed that we never got to discuss, such as trading, and all those things, all the way to RLCS and the lack of announcements, and then so much movement in the off season, things we just haven't gotten to touch on. But
hey, I'm gonna put a quick feather in my cap when it comes to the RLCS announcements and the Rocket League just in general, and them not communicating. And I'm gonna make sure everybody remembers, I was the one who got Devin to finally say something, and kicked off that whole thing on Lethamir's X account. But yeah, that was wild, because it was, I mean, from the time that we did our last episode to now, or to that point, it was, and that's kind of why we weren't doing the podcast, was there was nothing to talk about. Nothing official was going on. So we weren't going to sit here and keep spinning our wheels, but even as just a fan of the game and a viewer, like it was very frustrating couple of months of, we're not getting anything. And Devin admitting that they were rolling out a couple of new games, and it was more of, I think from my perspective, it was your X account, your whole thing has been that you're the Rocket League community manager. So are you not the Rocket League community manager anymore? Does Epic have you doing X, Y, and Z that is additional to that? And if that's the case, then can we get another person that is just straight Rocket League and will talk to us like you used to do? Yeah, it was very frustrating, especially because, I thought
like you used to do.
Yeah, like you used to do. He did. He would talk on Twitter and Reddit and, actually communicate with the community. I went back and looked at their website. They were putting out, almost, I don't know, I can't say monthly, quarterly. I'd have to go back and look at the dates, but there was that, it was like the high of Rocket League, right? Of Rocket League content, they were putting out actual blog posts and things to keep up on. And you could just tell that it went by the wayside. Rocket League got put on a shelf and turned into just sustainment. And it's just sustain it, keep it going the way it is. And at some point we'll come back to it. Which us as a community, we got ourselves so, I don't know, we got our hopes up because, there was the leak of they were hiring somebody for UE5. And so we all thought they'd be working on Rocket League UE5. But turns out, and I go back to our conversation with that guy in the bar at RLCS and him talking about, oh, yeah, we're working on something I can't tell you. And I can be, being frank, if he would have told me it was Rocket Racing, I would have just looked at him and said, are you, like, what are you guys, like, what are you doing? What? No, that's not what the community wants. I don't know. Have you even played Rocket Racing?
I have not.
So I
don't
have.
even know where to go to find it.
You have to go in Fortnite.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, you have to go into Fortnite to play Rocket Racing, which I have played it. And it is I wanted to try. I wanted to give it a chance. But
do you get any in-game content for Rocket League for playing it in Fortnite?
You don't get Rocket League content, but your certain Rocket League content has made it over to Rocket Racing, like the octane you can use in there, your colored octanes, the Jaegers in there. I think those are the two main cars right now. I don't know the other ones. But yeah, I gave it a shot, and it's an arcade style racing game is what it is. There's not much more to it past that. It's just you're racing. And it was like, what did you guys think that the community that enjoys a team aspect, challenging type game was going to be excited for about that? Like it was like, this is there's I can see their draw, right? Because their draw is not you and I. It's not even teenagers, the nutty teenagers who are playing Rocket League. The audience they are targeting is my 6-year-old. My 6-year-old loves it. He thinks it's fun. He loves coming in first place. He is always, battling, trying to get in the first, loves the challenge, and he'll bounce between that and regular Fortnite, and it clicked in my brain. We're not Epic's target audience right now. And it almost sucks because it does not almost sucks. It does suck because what we were all fearful of when Psyonix was sold off to Epic was, please don't abandon this game. Don't, help keep it growing. And now it's turned into what we all feared. They're not putting any effort towards it right now.
When you say they're not geared toward us, are you talking about the people who have played the game for a long period of time, like the hardcore players, the people that follow RLCS, or older people with disposable income? Like what group are you talking about? All of them?
I guess all of them. Like I really feel like it's geared towards kids. But I can see the casual gamer enjoying that and enjoying it. I can see that too. But yeah, if you're a diehard, like actual Rocket League, I think fanboy or fangirl, then yeah, Rocket Racing's not it for you because the feel of the car is not even the same. It feels like an arcade. That's what it is. I had a feeling of what it was going to be, that I made the last ditch effort. Literally the last night of trading, I traded just about all my stuff to my kid, just so I knew, like, you can have this stuff now. I say, like, I had all this stuff. I've built it up over the years, but it's not for me now. It's like, it's yours because you're actually gonna be able to use it in a game that you're gonna play. So yeah, it was it was, like I said, I played it a couple of times. It's a fun little dinky game, but it's not a draw to someone, I think, that actually plays Rocket League for what Rocket League is. So, but Lego Fortnite's pretty fun. Played that.
I've heard that too.
Played
but
that with my
again,
kid.
I mean, I think your point is the same there in what's important right now.
Yeah, they're
the development team,
right. Well,
and marketing.
Well, like everybody kept saying, Lawler was a big one on this when everything with Devin was coming out and that tweet blew up. There are people that do take it too far, right? Devin is still a person. He has a job to do, right? And whether his job priorities or responsibilities have changed, which seems that they have, yeah, you have to, he's doing his job, what he's getting paid to do. But that doesn't mean that everybody can't be still a little bit critical of what they're seeing and how they feel, because it did feel like they just they didn't care. Everybody, and where I was getting to with that is Lawler was talking about all the people that have been let go, and for me, it made me even more nervous about RLCS, because you're talking about a big production that we've seen the last 2 years. And my fear right now is when we get this announcement, it's not even going to be close to anything that we saw in the last 2 years, and that it's about to take a big backseat. Because if you look at the way I look at it, when it came to trading, right, the tagline that they used was, we have to align with Epic's policies. Which, okay, so you had to align with Epic's policies because of something else. Because if you had to align with Epic's policies, that would have changed years ago when Epic first acquired it. But there was something else that it needed to be changed for. So I start looking now at how does competitive Fortnite look, and right now competitive Fortnite, like, I know they can't implement this stuff all, like, right off the, like, very quickly, because the in-game stuff I don't think can handle it very well, but like the way Fortnite is, of just the cups that happen like every week, and I think it's every week or every 2 weeks, but it's almost like that's my fear, is that they're going to turn it into something like that, instead of the actual, like, RLCS season that we've seen and gotten accustomed to.
I just got used to the formats.
Right. And it definitely doesn't.
I just started feeling like I knew what was going on, how to, like, get the most out of it, right? And we talked about this several times, like, they are evolving it because it was so much in its infancy still. There was no way to know what RLCS was going to be today when they started it. And the game has evolved so much. I think that if they do come out with something, I'm going to take the other side here and say they're going to try to let people sink their teeth in more. I think that they're at the point where they got to sell it. They got to get it, not just for the current audience. They have to expand their audience. They have to 10x, their productivity here.
Oh, I agree. It's kind of like you said. It's what we have said all along, right? Everything was pretty much geared towards the hardcore fans and not the casual viewer, and they have to figure out how to bring in the casual viewer. but I don't. Just right now, I don't have faith in the system. I don't. I don't know where it's going to end up. So, like looking at competitive Fortnite, like I don't know. I mean, Fortnite is a different game, but I would have to think that at some point the minds at Epic, because they don't. I think it's now they don't have just like a Rocket League competitive like RLCS person. It's all being ran like Fortnite, Rocket League, like they're all being ran by the same team. So usually when you have like a team like that, you don't want to do different things because then it messes up the flow of everything. Like you want it to be the same so that at any point in time you know what is going on. But yeah, it all feels weird right now because we're already into January. We're almost through the first week. And supposedly, at some point this month, RLCS is supposed to kick off. Which, if the only thing I can think of is it's going to be the same, but maybe the production side won't be as big. Because, like Lawler alluded to, the fact of instead of 3 splits, you only do 2. So then there's one transfer window, and then you have Worlds. Which, if that's how it goes, then that makes a lot of sense, and is actually, I think, a good thing. But yeah, we just don't know. No one's told us anything. How is that possible?
And it's been, I mean, the season ended. We just talked about it in the beginning of October, somewhere around there, right?
When
September-ish.
I think it was September-ish.
Because usually it might even been the summer because they start back up after. Man, it's just so hard to get back into.
Hang on.
Going to Liquipedia again.
World Championships were August. It was August.
August. So yeah. So it was about September that we were kind of winded down, and then okay. And typically it would have started already in October, November, right? We would have had a fall season.
Correct.
Then the winter season would be starting now. So they just took a longer break in between. Not only, I think, to revamp, but because they didn't really know what to do yet, is my belief. Like they needed to reevaluate all the things that they've done in the RLCS season over a certain period of time and say, what are we going to do now?
It does feel that way. Yeah, like it was not only a let's give the players an actual off season, like when we talked with Sathu and Greg about, which they were super appreciative of. But yeah, it felt like it was also like you said, hey, let's look and reevaluate this and see what do we want to do. Because we all thought franchising was coming, right? I don't even know if that's even close to being on the table anymore.
Probably not. I mean, although we've seen some of these teams or organizations, that was another thing. Organizations as a whole, esports organizations are
gone.
Yeah, they weren't all making money, or few of them were making money. So they started to dissolve or combine with one another or whatever.
Like this is a relic now.
Be swallowed up. So it's interesting. That's not even a...
This is a relic.
Beautiful.
It's fantastic. It is a great thing. And now it's not even existent anymore.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
It was very wild. The fact that we're just having a whole org leave, and then it goes, and it's not even that the org left, but at the same time they merged with G2.
It wasn't a acquisition, it was a merger. Like I couldn't really figure it out.
I think G2 was it an acquisition or a merger? I don't know.
I don't know, but it was interesting.
It was an acquisition. So, okay, so
But
you're a business guy.
only
What's the difference between a
parts of it,
merger and
right?
an acquisition?
An acquisition is when G2 basically came over the top and just swallowed up V1 and it inherited everything. A merger would be like the two companies combine forces and then they eventually end up being under one roof. But G2 probably came in and cleaned house and said, this is the pieces we want, the other things we don't. Instead of combining the two and then trying to decide from there.
Okay.
You see this all the time in business.
Yeah, and
Finance companies will buy each other or like merge, or one will acquire the other, startups, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of it, most of the time, one name comes out of
okay.
G2.
You're right, and it's G2 now. V1 announced that it had released its Valorant squad.
That's right. So that's what they did, right? They started trimming some fat, and then G2 came and said, we're going to buy these pieces. And that's probably their Call of Duty, their
it was Call of
Rocket
Duty,
League, whatever else.
and Rocket League. And it sounds like it was mostly done for the Call of Duty League franchise, the Minnesota Rockers. Is that's what they went after?
That's what they wanted, yeah.
Yeah. So it was Global Strike. But yeah, so we have like that's gone, right? They're not there anymore. Which that roster not officially announced. No rosters have been officially announced.
That's funny.
Well, why would you announce them? Like you don't. There's
don't
nothing
need
to announce for.
It's been so long. Yeah, they don't even. I mean, they might know what the plan is by now, but we still don't.
No, we do not. Oh no, not Team Vitality. I want to just look at Rocket League in general. Okay, here it is. Says now that the squad is Atomic, Daniel, and Beast Mode.
Yeah.
Is that's who the roster is going to be. Atomic or JNAPS doesn't have a new team yet. Chicago with Space Station, which Space Station now, I believe Arsenal has left. LJ Hoxer and Chicago. Arsenal doesn't have an official new team yet. And then yeah, like teams like FaZe, we've never heard an official announcement from FaZe on what they're doing right now. Their roster just shows typical. Because Firstkiller is gone. He's signed with Gen.G, which that team right now is Gen.G, Appjack, and Chronicle. So,
So G2 even partnered with a platform for tournament making, right? Stride. So they're G2 Stride.
Oh, they did? I didn't see that.
Yeah, and Stride.gg is what they essentially partnered for. And they're trying to, I don't know how to really explain it, but if you read the articles, they're trying to create like a tournament circuit from amateur to pro, basically. So they really want to like strengthen the roots of Rocket League in general.
So then why doesn't Epic
Like go to
want to do
Stride
that?
GG and you'll see the team right there.
Stride.gg.
You'll see.
Yep. There they all are. Hey, there's Matthew.
The whole team is on the front page. Beast Mode, Daniel, all of them.
Yeah, it's
So I wonder what these partnerships mean for the longevity or for this season coming up. Like, there's a lot of moving pieces right now, and we still don't understand what they mean. Like,
No,
we have a lot of the puzzle pieces. We can't see the picture to put them together.
I don't even think we have a lot of like some puzzle pieces. I don't even think we have a lot of them. As hi
Yeah, we don't
Tomlet,
have
how you doing there,
corners
buddy?
or edges or anything.
Yeah,
Tomlet.
we're missing some cornerstone pieces right now. And yeah, it's just it's very frustrating. Because there's so much movement right now. Like one thing I know Lawler brought up, which I hadn't even thought about. So normally for the start of the season, right, that to carry your points or to have validity in your team, if I guess that would be the right word, like you're usually looking for teams that still have 2/3 of their roster, and there is not very many that are like 2/3 or even the same. Like only one of the ones that you can think off the top of your head is Reddles and Magic Bear. That's one that I can think off the top of my head. Which I don't even remember who they got picked up by.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are they still on Optic? I don't think so, right? They went to Luminosity, I think. All of them.
Was that where they went? Was Luminosity?
Even I think 3 of them went, didn't they? Including Greg.
Yeah, Greg went with them. So yep. So Reddles and Magic Bear and Greg all go to Luminosity. AJ stays with M80 or goes to M80, and I think did Optic get out completely?
Yeah, that's what I remember the most. Like, this is the crazy part about all of it is there are teams who are dropping out too.
Yeah,
or
Optic got out of Rocket
but
League
they
completely.
they still are orgs, right? So there's all sorts of sides here. There's the organizations who are still around who got out. There's the organizations who merged or acquired and are still in. There's the ones that are still unorganized orgs, it seems like, right? There's a whole bunch of these things going on.
Yeah, it's all. You're right, Tomlet. There is plenty to talk about, and it's trying to track all of it down and keep just. It's been such a long break that it's. Oh my god, yeah, this is a good tweet that Tomlet just posted. Monkeys disbanded
from literally today.
Oh, this was from today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my lord. Holy crap. Monkeys disbanded. Ollie left G1. Fireburner left version 1. Firstkiller left FaZe. Optic Gaming left Rocket League. Rise leaves BDS. Mist goes looking for team under FaZe. Atomic left G1. Banana Head left Pioneers. Exotic Itachi and Ever go looking for team under Carmine Corp. Cammy left Elevate. Sud disbanded. Justin's contract with NRG expired. LBD left Elevate. Brad left Crew. Mew left Team BDS. Seiko goes looking for team. Cammy retired. Chicago goes looking for team. Jorias goes looking for team. Koi disbanded. Hunter leaves Pioneers. Oh, this is just a recap of everything that's been going on. G2 wins against Carmine.
Yeah, you're not even a quarter of the way through, by the way. So you either need to pick up the pace.
Yeah. Psyonix announces that RLCS will resume in 2024. That's all gone. Squishy forms a new team with Aqua and Gimmick. What's some of the bigger ones? Farah left Vitality. Guild Esports released their roster. AJG leaves Complexity. Banana Head joins Power. Nolly leaves Gen.G, which I still can't figure out again why Nolly can't keep a home and ends up having to leave again. Hang
Fairy
on.
Peak
This
coaching.
do what?
Fairy Peak coaching, team vitality.
Oh, yep. I hadn't even gotten there yet. I had to get the bright off. It was killing my eyes.
I was picking up where you left off there.
Yep. Fairy Peak joined Team Vitality as a coach. Psyonix announced the removal of player-to-player trading. Firstkiller joins Gen.G. Bim's removed from the starting lineup. Just going through here. Realize leaves Elevate. We know that's a name. Caleb Laxon and Cabo form Gremlins. Jory is released from Oxygen. G2's parted ways with J-Naps. Exotic, Dryly, and Cassio join BDS. Farah joins Carmine Corp as a coach. Corrupted G goes looking for a team as a coach under Koi. G2 released Magic Bear. We talked about Reynolds and Magic Bear. Or, yeah, G2 released Chicago, my bad. Carmine Corp won the Flip and Spin land under the roster of Vatira, Nolly, and Rise. Rizzo announced the tournament, wrapping up with a LAN at Moist Esports headquarters. I missed that completely. Atal leaves Liquid. Fireburner goes back to NRG as a coach. I didn't even catch that. That's very interesting. Oh, you know what, Tom? I do remember. I remember seeing clips of that LAN, but I wasn't keeping up with what it actually was. But I do recall Rizzo like sitting on a couch and whatnot, and the Rocket League games going on. What else happens here? Koi leaves Rocket League. Card leaves Furia. Team Liquid left Rocket League Esports, so Liquid's out. Gregan's looking for a team to coach. Rise and Natal announced as part of Carmine Corp. Rule 1 released RW9 and Killers, Daniel and Beast Mode, which right around that time, going back to the Rule 1 release, that's when Sunless Khan releases his announcement that he is stepping away from Rocket League as a whole until further notice, which I don't know. I don't remember. Did you watch that link that I sent you of a podcast that he was on not long after that?
Sunless Khan?
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me about it.
Yeah, so Sunless Khan goes on a podcast of a gentleman that he used to work for, and was it Luke A. Renner is the name on YouTube, and it's who he used to work for when he was doing just video editing stuff, where obviously he got a lot of his tools that he used for all the great content that we watched him make on Rocket League. And the podcast is called The Inside Out with Luke A. Renner. And it's a really good, it's like an hour and a half long sit down talk with him. And Sunless goes over basically everything that happened and how he had a passion for Rocket League. He wanted to start making videos. He was using what he knew very well, which was how to tell a story. I don't know if there's been a Rocket League content creator that's been able to tell a story better than Sunless has. I mean, even down to the way he would set up videos with people who were being toxic. Like there was actually something to it, and instead of not just gameplay, which like that's all my mind could ever think of doing was watch me play. I'm terrible at the game. But he gets very open in the conversation and talks about how he started to struggle. Like the passion kind of died and it kind of became a job for him, and he just started taking on too many things, and it culminated in just as he says, like there was very much threat of self-harm that he was going down. So it's a good watch. I think everybody can learn a lot from it. Kind of the conversations that we've had over the last year with the mental coaches that we've talked to, and just stressing on how important that stuff is. And yeah, it was it kind of sucked because that was somebody that we saw grow up, like become big in the scene. Just, I mean, I remember watching his Why You Suck at Rocket League videos, and they were great. Like, there's still something to go watch because you can still relearn from them. But yeah, so it's kind of bummer to see him step away from the scene, but hopefully he does find what he needs to find and the help, and we see him return at some point in some capacity, maybe just making a video here and there. But you got to wonder, like, some of the stresses that he had dealing with or working through that, trying to come up with content and like really thinking about it. Cause he goes in and talks about how, for like, I think 2 years, he took maybe, I forget what it was, but he was saying like 2 weeks of vacation where he wasn't thinking about Rocket League or working on something. So like, I can, like, the game hadn't really changed much over that time. So I could see how the game not developing definitely probably strained in figuring out how to make content, and drove him. It not want to say drove him, but it definitely did not help him, I feel like. So, but yeah, it's kind of it's good to hear why, but it is also a bummer, I think, for the community as a whole.
That's real life, man.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you say about that? Because you have to feel like this is going to be not normal, but it sort of, right? Like, this is going to happen more and more and more, where these online personas or the trying to keep up with the content or the ability to grind these things out at young ages or even at any age, right? It doesn't really matter that, but that's another factor to play into it. There's so many of these things that it's hard to blur the line. Just working from home, it's hard to blur the line between home and and like work and real life and things like that. There's lots of these, especially being a personality and being in front of people and having to come up with things on your own and all that. It's a lot.
It is.
So being able to find that, I think some of the most, not necessarily, but some of the most successful streamers that I've seen and some of the most successful content creators have that balance. Like, it's a job. They say, I'm doing this Monday through Friday or whatever their schedule is, and they take the other time as like it's a job, and they take it off, and they have to live the life like that. And I think that's the way to do it, but only some people have that luxury, right? You have to get to a certain level to get there too. And content creation is harder to do that than, I would say, streaming. But at the end of the day, mental health is a real thing, and it's something that people talk about or don't talk about. And the acknowledgement of it is really cool that at least he's out there in chatting about it, because I still need to listen to the full thing, but super interesting. And you have to kind of wonder what else is going on out there.
You do. And that kind of brings me to next thing it's a little bit further down the list, but it was something that really stuck out to me. And I think it's going backwards than what we all thought competitive Rocket League was going. And that is the announcement that they decreased the minimum age to compete from 15 to 13. So we talk about mental health and all quote unquote issues that we've seen, and now we're hearing, oh yeah, we're gonna let even younger kids compete, when we're seeing that what it's evolving into is a job, right? There's a lot of money to be made on the table. And to think that the people at Epic feel that 13-year-olds are capable of doing that. I mean, we were all even talking about our 15-year-olds really capable of doing that. Do we need to up the age to where you have in those early teenage years, you have a chance to just be a teenager. Like, you're not getting into something super early. And I know everybody wants, not everybody, but somebody will come up with, well, it's not going to be everybody. It's just, it's select few. Yeah, but those select few, it's going to turn from, this is a league of 17-year-olds, which is what we really saw the last 2 years. Like, a majority of the players are just hitting 20. Reddle's just turned 21. And now we're going to get even younger than that and potentially see primarily 15, like it'll be primarily 15-year-olds competing, like for these huge pots of money that we see on the line. Like it just, I think it breeds it creates a situation that is not going to be very good for certain kids. Like, you're a time when they should be going out and socializing. You're going to have the prominent players in this arena just be glued to their desk, like, I got to play Rocket League. And then they're going to get to 18 and probably get beat by a 13-year-old. And now you got an 18-year-old with a huge pot of money. And what do you, like, how does anybody think this is going to be a good thing? And
the pressure's outside of playing too, right? Like, media stuff, or having to deal with public. A lot of them are right on Twitter right away. They have all of these expectations. They're not even, doesn't even have to be expectations, but all of these channels for people to have eyes on you. And that at such a young age, it's hard to say the right things, do the right things, be the right things, or even know what you believe at that age, right? Like, your life is going to change so many times since you're 15, 16, 17, 18. And it's a lot. It's a lot of pressures.
Right.
So that's where I think a lot of coaches we've seen, a lot of organizations have bought into the fact that they need to kind of finesse this a little bit better rather than just throw people into the fire at that age. And they've hired on some mental coaches or some people to give them a little bit of training in some regard, or what to say, what not to say, or how to act. Or they've had an older player there to make sure that they're able to do those things for the younger players. And those things are going to become more and more important as the player age level decreases.
Right. There's going to be, I would like to say, like, these teams, they're going to need to bring on veteran players to help the younger ones come along. But at the end of the day, the way we still see the game right now and the way it's being ran and organized, the orgs don't even have control over that, because the players are the ones that are in the driver's seat. So you're going to tell me that we're going to have a team of potentially 13 to 15-year-olds, because that's who's going to team up together, right? And they're going to be, I guess, like, harmonize, actually work together. Like, I just don't, I don't see it going very well. I mean, we finally got to a point where we had, like, your Joyos, your JNAPs, your Chicagos, your Turbos at one point, like Garrett, they were all finally getting very comfortable with being in front of the camera and being that person. And now we're just going to throw it all aside because some nutty team of 13-year-olds is going to come along and make it to where those guys aren't even around anymore competing in the scene. Like, I don't know. It doesn't, I feel like it doesn't bode well. It just feels like we're going in reverse. And we're all saying that, and we don't even know what the season's going to look like, and how it's going to play out. But yeah, to say 13-year-olds, it's very, I would say it's nerve-wracking as a viewer. And then not to mention the rosters. Like, you make that announcement, now rosters are even more up in the air because there are some talented players that weren't even being considered because they didn't meet the age requirement. But now all of a sudden it's a possibility. So it's going to be interesting when we finally do get whatever announcement is coming. But yeah, Psyonix announces that. To continue on, Radosin extended his contract with Vitality to
Oh,
2024.
you're still going.
Yeah, we're not done yet. There were still things that kept happening. Oxygen Esports won the Oxygen Esports Invitational. I do remember seeing that. Rigged. Yeah, it was completely rigged. I actually, did you see that was a whole topic of conversation of how they how they seeded the bracket?
No, I didn't.
Yes, it was an actual thing of how they seeded the bracket. People were up in arms of you gave yourself the easiest route to
of course,
to win the tournament. If I go,
that just sounds like good business to me.
Right. Yeah, the Oxygen Holiday Invitational. Where were they at? So yeah, they played the boys off the bat, M80. They do beat G2, then they beat Hey Bro. But yeah, it was a huge thing. Like Luminosity and NRG had to play right off the bat, which Luminosity and the boys, they do beat NRG, but do go on to lose to G2 in a 3-1. But good for them. They are showing good promise right now. But then you had other things like Space Station and Dignitas meeting up in the second round. Shopify played Savants, Torments, Minions. That's something that's not on here. I don't think it is. Growly set to play first split. Souza, Zanil, Lionblaze, and Kinnish form Skapartik. So that's a new team. And yeah, so they didn't have it on there. I know Torment, he's a coach. Coaching Torment's Minions, which they don't have anything official yet, but that was a team
they
that
also
was in that
didn't
one.
have Andy and Toasty lock in a roster spot with our boy 5UP, Jesus,
Yep.
Coach Jesus, ex-protege from their first class, which we did one of their streams, right? We did
We did do that before we departed for our little break.
That was a lot of fun.
Which
cool little org they've got over there, and that's how that talent is flowing through, right? Like we'd seen 5UP for a while in the communities we're in, and he just blew up.
He did.
He's going to make an impact.
5UP had a very big grind, and he's always been a player that I enjoyed watching. He has a lot of great mechanics. But yes, he joins Pirates on a boat.
As opposed to Pirates off the boat.
I mean, it's good that Pirates are on a boat. I would think Pirates would kind of struggle off the boat.
That's a good place for Pirates to be. I have noticed that Beast Mode has been streaming a lot lately, and he'll stream all kinds of things. His personality is really good for streaming, honestly. He's actually entertaining.
Yeah.
But 5UP was mentioned in a stream a bunch of times yesterday or the day before when I was watching, and he also showed up in the 6-mans that Beast Mode was in. So he's up there. That
you'd love to see it.
Is not dead.
Yeah, you love to see it. It's not dead, but it definitely doesn't have a lot of help still. It's just it's culminates
the
back
NA
to
bubble scene maybe a lot different too than other regions right now.
Well, and that goes back to what we've heard Greg and everybody talk about over the last year, and that's the maturity level, right? The maturity level is not there. And I think that's the other thing that makes it a little annoying when it comes to let's roll the age back to 13. Like, you already got a maturity issue. Why are we going to go back even further now and do that? Like, what are we doing? So, yeah, it's I don't know. Everything is still, but that was a good wrap up. That's from Liquipedia on their Twitter page. They posted that this morning at, it looks like 10:30. Scrolling through the comments real quick. Yep, nothing really there. Luminosity replying, "We are so back," and I hope that team does really come back.
Yeah, there's some good things in there. I mean, we kind of started off by talking about some of the negative things, but there are some really cool, good, positive
What's the
things in
positive
this
things that you're taking
list.
away right now?
Just the game continued on, right? Like we've seen some cool tournaments. We've seen some teams kind of come together and some players find a home. Things that really, I feel like, can build some momentum going into the season, depending on what these announcements are. Are we waiting for some major announcements, or are we just waiting for the next split to happen? Like, what do you think? What do you think is gonna? And do you think it's going to be soon? I mean, it's the beginning of January. We still have a couple weeks until anything. You'd think we'd have heard something by.
So, kind of touching on that, I know Graybeard had put out he took a poll and asked,
Like a metal poll, like a wooden poll,
no, he took a voting poll.
a voting poll.
Yeah, to say, place your bets. We've been told RLCS season announcement early Jan. What is considered early for Epic Psyonix / RL Esports? And he posted this back on 29 December. And 41% say the 9th of January, which is still so that'd be next Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. That is when people think the announcement will be. 41% say that, 20% say 16 Jan, and then 29% said, haha, what announcement. So
yeah, that's probably more in line.
I hope for some big announcement. I would like to think they're working with the talent that we've all come to be very much so used to at this point, and they're getting something together. But right now, with the way that we've seen a lot of things handled, I really feel like it's just going to be, here's when the split is. Like, we're doing a split, and it'll be like, cool. Yeah, let's get the ball rolling. Because I think right now they're also struggling with the fact of what teams are automatically in at this point because there's been so many roster moves. How do you gauge which teams are your top 8 automatically, or is it just going to be a straight open qualifier to start and let the chips fall and see what happens? Which I feel like there's a very strong chance of that. Of, hey, it's open qualifier. Nobody has an automatic bid in right now, and everybody's got to play their way through. Which, that'll be very interesting, but it'll be rough for your casual fan to watch unless they're not really aiming at the casual fan to watch that first part and just wanting them to watch the actual split when it happens. As Tomlin says, they are busy supporting a Fortnite minigame. Yeah, we covered that in the first part. Yeah,
which is insanity.
It really is. And it's kind of nuts to think about at this point of a game that we all thought.
It's funny though that you've actually played it.
You had to give it a chance. Like, just try it out.
No, I'm not gonna even sniff it at all.
After trying it, I would not recommend it because it's just like I said, it's an arcade racing game. Cool, like great. Like I hate putting like it that simple because like the guy that we met at the bar in Fort Worth, that guy was working on that, and like he was very excited about what he was working on, and
right.
Like I think back to that conversation, and I would hate to just look at him in the face and go, because that was something he actually thought was going to be like something. But at the same time, it's like, that's my honest opinion on it. It just kind of sucks that they were that excited about it. Like, really thought that was the move. Oh yeah, and then this week too, they announced that Rocket League Sideswipe has volleyball, and it was like, wait, that's still around. That like, we can't get like a volleyball thing into regular Rocket League. Like, God, like it's
Mobile
so
games make money, man.
obviously, I guess, and that's I think that's the sucky part to
What makes
realize.
money? That's what we're gonna put time into.
It's what makes money, because we've seen it already as well. Everything in the store in Rocket League, the prices have doubled. Like the bundles that are coming out, I think the new Hot Wheels one that is coming out, I think it's like it's like double the price from what we've seen bundles be in the past. So, and it's like, as a parent, that it's rough. You know how hard it is to try to explain to a kid that, hey, no, you're not buying that skin. I know it's cool, but it doesn't help you be better at the game. Like that, and it's tough because that's what they're targeting right now is that age group and kids that like, oh, new shiny. I need new shiny.
But they don't care if they're better at the game from that.
And that's so hard. Like it, as a parent and a competitive person myself, it's very hard. It's a struggle because I have to remind myself that, right? Like, he doesn't see it as competitive as I do, but he does know what a victory royale is, and so it's putting it into those terms of it doesn't help you get that. It just looks cool on your screen. And I started
Let's get all the victories.
Well, and I started. I think like I asked him the other day. I was like, "Hey, can you?" We went to a pizza place for New Year's Eve. It's a local place here called Lido's, which I don't think it's local. It's just like it's just an area thing. I don't know how far out it goes, but like it's a nicer pizza place. It's really good. But for the food that we get for a family of 5, like that was $100. And so like I asked him, and I was like, you know, you want money for this, you know, and I told him how much that food cost. I was like, we could hold that food, we could eat it, it filled our bellies, like we can move on. And you want something that is on a video game that you can't even hold. Like, can you hold it? And he's, no. I'm like, shouldn't, like, try. It's very hard to get that across to a 6-year-old. Like, you can't even hold it, dude. Like, it doesn't, the value, especially because the way that they killed the trading ecosystem. Like, the value is gone. There is no value to it at all. At least with the Rocket League trading, like, it was I don't know, it was kind of a facade that we put in front of ourselves. Some people were able to actually turn it into actual money, but you could, you know, put $5 into crates and get an item that had more value than that $5 that you put in. Then you could turn around and get more items for it. But now we can't even do that. Like, it's all just a big money grab now. And it actually makes it makes it hard to play video games now, seeing that.
Do you buy stuff in your everyday life with the thought of like, I might be able to trade this in someday for money? Or do you buy it because you like it?
It has I'm gonna say use, but like you could turn that into where you're using it in the game.
I'm just curious.
It's
as I get older and wiser, I buy less stuff just to have stuff, and I spend less money on things that I don't need versus want, not because I can't, but because I want to do better, cooler stuff. Like,
right.
I don't know. So for me now, buying that stuff doesn't make any sense. But as a kid, I didn't care. I don't care.
Right.
I can't resell it. Like, what does that matter to me? I just want it. It's cool.
No, you're right. I completely agree. It's that how it, instead of, I guess it's more as a parent of trying to pass that wisdom on that we learned much later in time, like pass it on a little sooner so that we don't see them getting sucked up into the.
That's exactly right. It is our responsibility to teach them those things.
Right.
And places just like physical items, businesses, physical commerce or marketplaces Amazon are going to try and sell you stuff that you don't necessarily need, but they're going to make
Correct.
you feel like you need it. That's how you buy stuff. That's why you buy stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's the whole draw. And it's like
Brands do that, all kinds of stuff.
Correct.
So just about teaching them, like you're saying, it's not that who cares if you can trade it in, but the value is basically the enjoyment you get out of it. But if you take that money and you do something else with it, you can have more value.
Right. Yeah, you can have more value. I think what I was going with the whole trading thing, because that's not why I got into crates. Like, it was kind of that's what it ended up becoming. But it was a way to quote unquote monetize what you had without actually monetizing it, because it was this whole little ecosystem that I'm sure was skewed in some way, but you could always tell that they wanted that it bothered them because they couldn't get any profit out of that. It was something that was there and they had no control over it. And it was, oh great. And like you said, I can't monetize that. So we have to get it out of the game at some point. And
right.
Rocket Racing was kind of what ended up driving it. Tom, let's say in chat, you have to wonder if they are making more money from Sideswipe / Fortnite than the actual game. I would say at this point they are. Mobile. I remember talking to somebody. It was actually a pilot that I knew, and his brother was big into business. They had a gaming headset company at one point, V Modas, and they had sold it off. But he talked about, and this was years back, that he was like, "Oh, you play video games?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, like gamer, like mobile games?" I'm like, "No, that's not a gamer." And he goes, "Nope, he said, if you're on a console, you're not a gamer anymore. The outside business world looks at you as a hardcore gamer if you're actually on a console or a computer. But they do consider people that play mobile games gamers." And
That's right.
And they have definitely aimed at monetizing those people, because it is, I don't know, like any mobile game you play, how easy is it to like, oh, 99 cents. Yeah. Fuck it. I'll throw $1 at that just to gain a little bit of advantage. Why not? So yeah, it's definitely a thing. It's scary to think about, because that's where we're at with video games. Especially since we're all not paying $60 for a game anymore, depending on what you play, right? Not everybody has gone to free to play format, but it does seem like there is more of that coming. And with the way Epic's going with their whole multiverse, which that's what Lego and Rocket Racing is. It's a multiverse. It's how they're pitching it. It's almost like trying to gobble up all the games just under their umbrella. And, oh, you play through Fortnite, and you can get to this game and that game. Which is crazy to think with where Fortnite started. Which was
not a bad play, though.
Which was a PoE that nobody had interest in until they introduced the Battle Royale part of it.
Yeah, that's right.
But, wow, what a rant that was. Talk about parenting, Rocket League, and Fortnite.
Yeah, you like blacked out there and just went for it. I love it.
But yeah, it is. It's scary as a parent. That's for sure. And I think like what I guess I'm looking at, you have the really good parents, like I can never remember Savage's
like
dad's name.
Oh.
Reese. Yeah, Reese, and like you can tell he's doing such a great job with Savage, because there's a good chance that won't really see Savage play Rocket League ever again. He's got him in so many other things. I think he was starting motocross. I saw he was getting a dirt bike.
Yeah.
So like you have that, but then you worry about you think about the kids that don't have that looking out for them, and then they're just gonna get swallowed up by Daddy Epic basically, and that's gonna be their life. And hopefully it goes well, but I mean, It's kind of scary to think about. Yeah, Tom, we had touched on that that they re-released the Hot Wheels cars today, and it's double the price. So yeah, like you could tell it was.
I think I had some of them on PlayStation, and I also had like the DeLorean and Ghostbusters car, and none of the Ecto. None of those came over for me. Only one that came over was the Batman.
Oh yeah, that was the whole thing of the.
I'm not gonna buy it again.
The franchising of all of it. Like not every car ported over to being able to play on PC. So it was. Yeah, it was that was definitely weird in their legalities with all that, but the legalese of it says that if you buy it here, then you play it here. You can't take it to another console or another platform.
Yeah, super silly. Honestly, makes zero sense.
It does. What is something else that's been going on? Oh, Smurfing. Smurfing's still a huge thing. Everybody, and I guess there's somebody found. It was Frowsy. Frowsy found it. It was a website for getting carried to GC or SSL. And it wasn't just one website. It was like multiple websites. Yeah. He Googled Rocket League boosting to see how easy this is his tweet. I Googled Rocket League boosting to see how easy it would be to buy some, and holy shit, there's a whole marketplace. Yeah, these websites, it's literally Boosteria. I don't know what this one is, but calculate the price of your boost, Sky Coach, and literally Rocket League boosting.
Calculate the price of your boost. What does that mean?
Like how much it's going to cost to boost you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so like the requirements here are play with a booster, appear offline, priority order, a live stream, +1 win.
So there's like different options you can select which drive the price.
Yeah. So it's you put in what your current rank is and what rank you want to get it to, and it looks like to go from like Plat 3 to Diamond 1 is €5 with a 24% discount code applied. Right? Like it's kind of this one was if you wanted to go starting at Bronze 1 and get to Gold 3, it was $20.
That's interesting.
And they have rank boost, tournament
Is it like
boost,
a
and tournament.
two-sided marketplace where there's like multiple people who do it, or it's just like one guy who's like, this is what I do?
No idea. I should honestly like try and reach out to one of those websites and see if one of them would come talk to us under anonymity.
Yeah, you could get to gold.
Finally? Yes. Dude, I am so bad because I have, this break really made me realize because now I'm taking a break from we took a break from the podcast, but I even had taken a kind of a pretty big break from Rocket League in general. And holy crap, it put into perspective how much time I had devoted to playing the game over the last couple of years. Because I pick it up and there are things that are still naturally yep, still got it. But then going into gameplay and game sense, yep, I'm struggling.
Well, you gotta think about that. The game evolves still too. Like the player base continues to get better mechanically, or their game sense gets better while you get left behind. So it's not just your skills are deteriorating, but the skills of the player base are also getting better, and you have to deal with both of those things at the same time.
Right. Yeah, it's not only hey, you haven't been playing, but yeah, the floor of the skill is only going up as
that's right.
Everybody gets better.
Which is why I think a lot of people believe there are so many Smurfs. There are, right? I know that. But at some level, there are people who are way better than what their rank tells you. Because a lot of people are good.
So I think it's a combination right now of the, like, yes, there are Smurfs. Are there as many as we think? No. But a lot of people have turned the conversation to, it's not Smurfs anymore. It's boosted players who now get into a lobby when they get the account back, and they don't belong there. Which, that's an interesting, not something that, you really consider as, oh my God, do they even belong here?
100%. I mean, there's all sides of it. So that's a good point too.
Oh man.
Crazy.
But
Crazy
well, this time has flown by and we have covered a lot. I don't know if we may not, depending on what announcements come, we probably won't do another episode till after they actually announce something and we start getting more clarity as to how things are going to look. So if the target date, which is suspected to be next Tuesday, probably the following Monday after that is when we will come back. But yeah, we just wanted to get this out here to let everybody know we are still here. We do intend on still doing the show. Just the content wasn't there for us to come here and just stare at each other and ramble back and forth.
Well, as you can see too, I mean, we built a pretty good concept with getting people to interview in the scene and all those things and get people who are involved in things. And we also understand that there's other parts of life that are important and all that. So we took a pretty big break as the game took a break. But everything we just talked about kind of brings us up to speed. And this is like a pre-show before we even get back into what we enjoy doing, which is talking about the esports part of the game and the changes, and then also getting into the nitty gritty with some of the personalities or the actual people that are doing things in the Rocket League scene. So I'm excited to get back into those things and try to get some really cool guests on and talk about the actual tournaments that are happening and all the nice fun things. So again, this was like a really good preview for what's to come. But yeah, I think I agree with you, Hoosier. Until there's an announcement, we'll start building up our book for the next steps.
Yeah, and we also needed to just shake the rust off a little bit as well and coming back, making sure we had all of our stuff set up and ready to go. So it was like before we started, it was going, hey, how did we do this again? Oh yeah, we did it that way. That's how we did it. But we appreciate you all tuning in and on the podcast side as well. Heading out right here for as we depart. An ad that we played at the beginning, we do have an ad sponsorship now, and I want you guys to check that out and make sure you go show them some love from the community. So we will catch you all next time, and have a good one. Bye.
I just found a fun and easy way to make money beating other players in Rocket League. Game Wagers is this new app where you play your favorite online game and you could challenge your friends or other players to a 1v1 wager. The Game Wagers app acts like a digital referee. Not only does the app keep track of the winner and the loser of each match, it verifies the winner of each 1v1 wager. That means the winner gets paid and the loser gets good. No more live streams needed, no more VODs required. Let the app worry about all that, and you could focus on beating your opponent and making some money. Sign up at GameWagers.com, download the Overwolf app, link your PayPal account, and start making money.